For the past year, I have watched my timeline and Reddit blow up with the idea that Fortnite needs a competitive playlist. And in the beginning, I was all for it, and over time, my ideas have shifted, and I kind of realized what Fortnite really is, and that is it's a fun game that just so happens to have hundreds of millions of dollars for tournaments. But with Fortnite in its first year of the World Cup, it seems like this is the perfect time to discuss, does Fortnite really need a competitive playlist? Well, first, let me lay out some ground rules as to what I consider a competitive playlist for Fortnite. Now, number one, set rules and a set point system that is consistent and doesn't change over time. Number two, restricted items, so only competitive items are used. These items would be banned or kept depending on a community or board vote. And number three, some sort of ranking structure that will place you against players of same skill as you rise in the ranks over time. Now, with the rules laid out, let's discuss the positives and negatives of having a competitive playlist. And first, we'll start off with the positives. The first positive is consistency. Now, the biggest gripe competitive Fortnite players or the Fortnite community has had in general is consistency in the game. As we know, Fortnite is the only BR that changes so drastically from season to season, sometimes even month to month. And these lack of consistencies can lack from anywhere from weapons, go back to the Infinity Store that was added, right? This was hugely unpopular. And then, of course, vehicles such as the early Stormwing, which was added, and it was incredibly overpowered. And in fact, it changed competitive because there were some tournaments happening whenever the X4 Stormwing was introduced. And then, of course, even map dynamics such as the anti-gravity zone, which had a huge impact at the end of Season 6 for the PAX West Finals, where we saw the anti-gravity zone being used. And I believe it was during round 4 or 5, you saw players literally shooting up to the sky ceiling, and they were forced to fight it out. And that intel led Epic Games to effectively limit the gravity zone. And they got rid of it, at least for that tournament in general. But this randomness is hugely unpopular for competitiveness in general. It just adds a new dynamic that shouldn't be there. So whenever it comes to a competitive playlist, we need to start limiting this. And by doing so, you will limit the amount of RNG and randomness, and you'll allow players to be able to play it out more effectively. They'll be able to use their strategies that they've been planning for maybe months ahead of time. They won't have to run into any new weapons, or at least a crazy amount of weapons. They won't lose maybe their most popular weapon. And on top of that, they won't have to deal with new map elements that are randomly added. And because of this, they'll be able to play more safe and sound and be more effective in general for competitive. Now, the second positive of a competitive playlist is a ranking system. Now, all over Reddit, I've been seeing people talk about a ranking system because they want the number next to their name. They want a number or symbol that signifies that they have achieved the rank that they currently are at. And this is pretty cool, right? Because it gives you a bragging right to your friends. And more importantly, it also gives you the opportunity to play alongside members that are of the same skill level. I know a lot of people have been complaining over time that the public matches have become increasingly difficult. Maybe players who can make it, consistently top 20, top 10, they know once they reach that point, they're going to run into somebody who can build a Taj Mahal on them or insanely fast edits, and they're going to come down and pump them. And the problem with this is it kind of kills the fun for a lot of the players out there. But with the ranking structure, this could limit that. But anyways, there are some problems with that, and we'll kind of get into that further on. But the ranking structure could be a huge positive over time for improving as well as limiting the skill gaps that we currently see in the overall public lobby. Now, the third positive is a point system. This kind of goes back to consistency. We haven't seen a consistent point system from the beginning of Fortnite. Now, it's kind of changed back and forth from the beginning being rewarded towards straight eliminations. And then all of a sudden we saw it being rewarded to straight placements. And then we kind of had a mixture of both. And there's pros and cons to each one of those. If you just have points rewarded more so towards eliminations, you have players that are going to be way too aggressive and they're going to push gunfights they shouldn't be pushing because they'll know they'll be rewarded for a point overall, right? So they're going to go in and they're going to push the 1 by 1, even though they know that they shouldn't be doing so. And then, of course, if you have the point system rewarded strictly for placements, you run back into Season 2 and Season 3, where you saw countless 1 by 1s spread across the map. And it doesn't allow for a good viewing experience, and it also doesn't allow for a good playability experience. And honestly, it's quite boring to play and see. Even though it's highly competitive, it still isn't the best scenario. So you have to find a mixture of both. And personally, I feel the Gauntlet Cup rule set that they currently have, where you lose points for using the bus, whether it's -2 or -3, depending if you're playing solo or duo, and then also being rewarded 1 point for eliminations, and then getting a total of 10 points for placements if you get all of the placement points possible from top 25 to number 1. I think that's a pretty good point system, and for me, it works. Maybe it can use a little bit of tweaking, but I'll leave it to, kind of the community to figure that out, and maybe even Epic themselves. But overall, that's something that we need to look forward to, and in a competitive playlist, having a consistent point system, that would be a beautiful thing. But of course, with positives, there are also some negatives, and let's go ahead and take a look at our first negative, and that is it splits the community. Epic Games has always been about keeping the community the same, and that goes from public play to competitive. They want it to be the same rule set and the same weapons and the same map elements, and that gives a better transition for the viewership. The viewers who know how to play the game can go and watch a competitive match, and although there are some intricacies that might be different, they can still overall know what is happening, and it allows them to be able to keep more in tune with what game is going on or what's going on inside the game. And that's a thing that Epic has always been big on. But by having a competitive playlist and banning certain items to make the game more competitive, you are effectively splitting the community. You're distancing yourself further away from what the casual player would understand. And not to mention, too, it also, kind of drowns out the hype that Epic Games tries to bring with these new items they're adding. One thing that makes Fortnite interesting is with the addition of new items and new map elements. And that's something that has really made, or not even competitive, but really made Fortnite thrive so much as it has, because it's always changing and developing. But by splitting it from casual play to competitive play and limiting certain items, you're not building that hype into competitive play. I'm a firm believer that Fortnite has kept at least the same both competitively and casually. It's resulted in a better viewing experience and a better understanding for players in general. And by splitting it, it's going to potentially be a negative. And the second negative is the ranked playlist, the competitive playlist, it won't be perfect. There's still going to be people complaining about it, as people complain all the time about really everything there is in Fortnite at some point or another. When people talk about a competitive playlist, they talk as if it will fix several issues. These issues include the wide skill gap we see currently in public lobbies, having random squad members back out, right? You want to go and play a squad or a duo, and all of a sudden your team member backs out because he knows there's not going to be a punishment in regular play. And maybe competitive would punish somebody from leaving the game too early by maybe docking his points or whatever they deem is necessary. But the truth is, just because a competitive playlist is implemented, it doesn't mean you won't still see that skill gap. You're going to have Smurf accounts that are going to be joining. But more importantly, you yourself are going to reach a skill ceiling. And this is going to be incredibly frustrating. You think you're running into sweaties now. Imagine running into people who are your same skill level who are trying to progress in the ranked mode. They're going to be just as sweaty as you are, or at least you see in the current public play. It's not going to change, and it might get worse. But some people, including myself, would actually enjoy that, because I want to play against people that are just as good as me, and I want to improve myself, because let's face it, if you are playing against better people, that means you yourself are starting to improve over time. But for those that scream they're not having fun in the game due to players being better than them, they need to really realize, why are they playing this game? Are they playing this game because they want to consistently win? Are they playing this game because they want to fare better against the players that they feel are better than them? Well, if that's the case, a ranked system necessarily won't help them. They just need to practice and really develop their skills. Instead of complaining and making excuses as to why they die, they need to then evaluate, this is why I was eliminated. And they need to then improve on their overall play style to get better. And a ranked mode isn't going to be a magical pill they can take in order to change their mindset as to what is going to make them better at the game. But also, too, on the other end of the spectrum, for people who want a ranked mode, but still, they just want to play the game for the fun, that Fortnite brings, right? You know, they love doing the in-game challenges. They like unlocking new skins from the battle pass or new, dances or whatever. But if they like that aspect of it, then a competitive mode is negligible and it's not for them. So these players who are screaming for a competitive mode really need to understand, is that what they want? But overall, my personal thoughts on a competitive playlist in Fortnite is that every game that is deemed competitive needs some sort of distinction between public play and competitive play. It has to be there. The most recent Gauntlet tournaments have been very solid, and in fact, they offer a prize system and also a leaderboard, and for me, I'm happy with that. It gives me a reason to play the game more so than just playing in a public lobby. But we still need more. I firmly believe if Fortnite didn't have the large event prize pool, the largest yearly prize pool in the history of esports, it wouldn't be as popular as it is today. You put up $100 million for at least the World Cup, people are going to play, and they're going to transfer games. They're going to come from PUBG. They're going to come from, you've seen it from everything. Call of Duty, some even coming from FIFA, Elder Scrolls Online, right? They're going to transfer their game. They're going to leave their old game and come because they want to make the money if they feel it's a viable option. It's going to happen. But if it wasn't there, would it still be as popular as it is today? But the fact is, no matter how much money you throw at a game, it doesn't make it any more competitive. You can have all the money in the world and throw it at it, but it's still not going to be a competitive game, regardless if you have players playing it. So at the bare minimum, we need some sort of ranking structure that needs to be put in place. So you have players playing against players of the same skill level. Have it separate from your public lobby if you want, but give the option to at least have some sort of ranking system. And in a perfect world, we need custom lobbies and a competitive playlist that includes the 3 rules I mentioned earlier. Set rules, set point system, restricted items that are voted on by a board or a community, and some sort of ranking structure. You have all 3 of those in, and you'll have a solid competitive playlist. But truthfully, I don't see competitive playlists being added. I really don't. And I don't see Epic separating the communities between public play and competitive. It's just something they have been against since the very beginning, and they've been very open about that. With the addition of Gauntlet and Pop-Up Cups, I think that is the answer Epic is giving for the competitive playlist, and we're not going to see something added in addition to that. But to be fair, the Gauntlet Cup is a solid addition, and it does give you a leaderboard, and it does give you some type of ranking system. But overall, we still need a little bit more, and I hope in the future, Epic will cater more towards the competitive community and give us a little bit more to maybe lower the RNG and give us a more competitive experience.